The wedding is about to begin. Sean sent me a message, Evelyn is hospitalized. Let's postpone the wedding. The makeup artist who was touching up my makeup stumbled and dotted a mole between my eyebrows. I remained unfazed. I made a call to Sean's archenemy, the wedding is short of a groom. Interested? Cecilia, the board has been stabilized. My typically stern father actually spoke with a tone of gratitude and reassurance. The wedding live stream really worked, far better than holding a press conference. The moment the broadcast started and they saw it was a union between our two families, those old goats on the board all shut their mouths. I stared blankly at my reflection in the makeup mirror. Despite being a bride-to-be, my eyes showed little joy. After all, just before receiving the call, I had gotten a message from Sean. Evelyn is in the hospital. Let's postpone the wedding. When I saw the message, my heart turned to barren wasteland. Perhaps there had been too many foreshadowing moments. When this moment finally arrived, there was even a sense of resigned relief, so it has come to this after all. My best friend Layla was fuming. Postpone the wedding? Is Sean's brain full of shit? The wedding livestream has already started, and he says postpone? Layla kept ranting while pacing in circles, literally steaming with anger. Seeing my numb expression, she hugged me and started crying. Cecilia, that bastard Sean knows exactly what this wedding means to you. What are we going to do now? Yeah, what should we do now? The Serious Group project has been losing money continuously, with several directors teaming up to push for a leadership change, and my sexist father hastily threw me out for a marriage alliance. My childhood sweetheart, Sean, who swore just the day before that he would always stand by my side, vanished without a trace when it mattered most, leaving only a text message. Layla's eye makeup was smudged by tears as she rubbed her eyes and asked me, Cecilia, what if I have my younger brother come over now to complete the wedding with you? We can just say it's an alliance between our families. I was torn between laughter and tears as I hugged Layla back. Your brother just turned 18, let's not drag him into this mess. Thank you for staying with me. I'll figure something out. I picked up the phone and dialed the number I never thought I'd use. Is that promise you made still on the table? The voice on the other end of the phone sounded muffled and somewhat melancholy. Sure. I bit my lip. I'm in a wedding today, but the groom ran away. Can you help out in a pinch? The voice from the other side suddenly became clear. Of course. But I have one additional condition. I quickly calculated in my mind which projects and assets of Serious Group could still be exchanged. This was none other than the crown prince of the Everhart family, whose standards were never low. Yet I received an unexpected reply. After the wedding, bring your ID and come with me to register our marriage. Huh? I was momentarily stunned. The originally steady voice on the other end of the line now carried a hint of excitement. Marry me for real. I don't do fake marriages. My brain froze for a second. Wasn't Everhart always known for his impeccable reputation and aversion to women? How did he know that Sean and I were only having a wedding without legally registering our marriage? I thought again about the vast fortune of the Everhart family. I'll cooperate in signing a prenuptial agreement. Ha ha ha. A hearty laugh came from the other end of the phone. No prenuptial agreement. I was stunned for a moment. Is Gareth, the young master, playing such a daring game just to spite his rival, going as far as not signing a prenuptial agreement for marriage? Cecilia, who are you going to register your marriage with? After hanging up the phone, Layla stared at me with wide eyes, tears streaming down her face as if they cost nothing. I sighed with a mix of helplessness and emotion, holding Layla's hand. Don't look at me like that. Do you really think I'd sell myself off so easily? Layla and I walked out onto the balcony, overlooking the wedding banquet that was supposed to be for Sean and me. Friends and family were gradually taking their seats. The specially invited live streaming team was still diligently filming and explaining every detail of the wedding. I wanted a lawn wedding witnessed by friends and family. Sean painstakingly searched for the most beautiful lawn in all of City C. The wedding dress and suit were chosen by Sean. The ring was designed and crafted by Sean himself. Even every bouquet on the lawn had its style finalized one by Sean. Just like me, he was full of anticipation for this wedding. Yet, despite all his effort, at the most crucial moment, he still chose to give up on me. Messages kept coming in intermittently on the phone. Sean's voice sounded somewhat out of place in the room. "Cecilia, I know you're the most sensible. I'll make it up to you later, I promise. Cecilia, Evelyn was in a car accident and can't be left alone. She refuses to have the surgery without me. Cecilia, be good. We'll reschedule the wedding another day." I don't know what Sean was thinking. Yesterday, I repeatedly reminded him again and again how important today's wedding was to me. At the time, he smiled, kissed me, and told me not to overthink it, just relax and be the most beautiful bride. But how could I possibly relax? Evelyn even texted me yesterday, "Guess what, if something suddenly happens to me on your wedding day, will Sean choose to marry you or be with me?" I wanted to know too. I told myself this would be the last time, I was willing to bet on it. After all, this was a wedding planning company I had been working with for half a year. They moved quickly. Within 15 minutes, the planner swiftly replaced everything related to the groom. The guests erupted in murmurs. Why was the groom suddenly changed? Did something go wrong with the alliance between the two families? The head of the live streaming team cautiously approached me, his concern barely concealed. "Cecilia, should we continue the live broadcast?" "Continue. The part about changing grooms won't be filmed for now." As soon as he finished speaking, my father called me. Even through the receiver, I could hear his rage. "What the hell are you playing at, you damn girl? Did Sean dump you? Someone on the board said you switched grooms. What kind of terrible idea was this? I told you not to livestream it, but you wouldn't listen. Now look, everyone knows Sean abandoned you." I took a deep breath, trying to suppress the disappointment in my heart. "Dad, the one who broke the promise is Sean." His voice sounded even angrier. "I don't care about any of that nonsense. You go and beg Sean, kneel if you have to, just get him to come back and marry you." But before I could finish, Dad had already hung up. I let out a bitter laugh. Once again, it was always like this. The leader of the live broadcast team hesitated for a moment before tentatively suggesting, "Cecilia, should we make our equipment malfunction?" The unexpected concern actually made me feel a bit uncomfortable. "Thank you. If I recall correctly, your company is also a newly established small business, right? Aren't you afraid of tarnishing your team's reputation?" The person in charge was surprisingly open-minded. "We're all small companies anyway, if things go south, we can always start over. But your wedding, it sounds like the situation isn't great." I let out a self-deprecating laugh. Yeah, even a stranger who happened to cross paths with me at a live streaming company was showing concern and trying to help me brainstorm solutions. But what about those who claim to love me so dearly? Suddenly, noisy commotion erupted from the wedding lawn. My eyes grew slightly damp as I watched the person who had appeared just in time at the far end of the lawn. "The groom is here, you can focus on the live stream now." Gareth strode across the lawn. Maybe it was just my imagination, but under the sunlight, Gareth seemed to be glowing. "The one marrying Cecilia is me, and we both hope to receive everyone's sincere blessings." The commanding presence of Gareth, the heir, was truly no exaggeration. His overwhelming gaze swept across the crowd. The venue quickly fell silent. 20 minutes later, the wedding music began. I took a deep breath and slowly walked onto the lawn. The sun was shining brightly, and everything was clear. Step by step, I moved forward, my gaze sweeping over those familiar faces. To my surprise, Gareth's grandfather had actually come. I looked up and saw not only his grandfather but also his father, mother, and sister. Gareth's entire family was present. Finally, my gaze settled on Gareth in the center of the lawn. He was dressed in a well-tailored black suit, his posture upright, his eyes sharp, and a faint smile on his face. I walked up to him and looked into his eyes. His gaze was deep and complex, filled with emotions I couldn't decipher. Gareth was tall and imposing, and standing beside him made me seem especially delicate and petite. I blinked, holding back the tears in my eyes. "Thank you, Gareth." Gareth gave my hand a gentle squeeze. "The pleasure is mine." During the ring exchange, I froze for a second. This wasn't the wedding ring Sean had painstakingly designed before. The ring was simpler and more elegant, yet the diamond was even larger. I clicked my tongue inwardly. TSK, the Gareth family truly lived up to their reputation as one of Sea City's top aristocratic families. Even a ring pulled out at random was ridiculously extravagant. The ring happened to fit my finger size perfectly, and it felt unexpectedly comfortable when I wore it. For a moment, I froze again. The groom may now kiss the bride. I was a bit dazed. I always knew Gareth was handsome, wealthy, and exceptionally capable, the kind of child parents always held up as an example. But right now, that aggressively handsome face was getting closer and closer to me. I couldn't control the flustered sensation rising within me. I couldn't tell whose heart was pounding. Thump, 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 thump. Gareth seemed to smile slightly. "Cecilia, close your eyes." Under the gaze of the crowd, I slowly closed my eyes. A soft kiss brushed past. Gareth gently took my hand. "Whoa, one more. One more." The cheers and congratulations from everyone still rang in my ears. I opened my eyes. Gareth's ears were completely red. He glanced at the cheering crowd with a proud grin. "This is my wife, why would I let you all see?" I felt a bit shy and flustered, not daring to look into Gareth's eyes. My mind was filled with just one thought: despite Gareth's rugged appearance, why are his lips so soft? After getting our marriage certificate, my brain was still struggling to process it. Just like that, we were officially married, just like that? Back in the car, Gareth kept flipping through the 2 marriage certificates, the smile on his lips never fading. Sitting beside Gareth, I felt uneasy and called out, "Gareth." Gareth finally tore his gaze away from the marriage certificate, cleared his throat, and said to me, "We're legally married now. You can call me something else." I hesitated, just about to speak when, beep beep. A car with a painfully familiar license plate pulled up. Sean stepped out and tapped on the window. Well, what brings the crown prince himself here? Fancy seeing you in a place like this." Gareth scowled and rolled down the window as Sean's voice drifted in. My brain short-circuited, I dove straight into Gareth's arms. Sean looked at Gareth mockingly. Gareth is really lucky to have such an enthusiastic little girlfriend." Gareth froze for a moment and glanced at me, who was burying my face in his chest like an ostrich. He gently patted my head. When he turned to Sean, his expression returned to its usual indifference. "Let me introduce you. This is my wife, the kind with a marriage certificate." Sean was visibly shocked. "When did you get married? How come I didn't know?" Before Gareth could answer, Sean smiled and said, "Today was supposed to be Cecilia's and my wedding day, but something unexpected came up. Now I need to hurry and apologize to Cecilia." Gareth scoffed lightly and patted my head again, as if to comfort me. I nestled in Gareth's arms, feeling only the warmth and strength of his embrace at that moment, an unprecedented sense of security. Sean's voice suddenly hesitated slightly. "Gareth, why does your wife look somewhat familiar? Aren't you going to introduce her to me?" I froze, just about to raise my head when Sean's phone suddenly rang. "What? Evelyn woke up? Okay, I'll be right back." Sean and Gareth exchanged quick greetings before hastily leaving. I smirked. See, that's all there was to it. "Let's add each other, wifey." Gareth pulled up a QR code and handed me his phone. My previously gloomy mood instantly dissipated upon hearing Gareth's affectionate address. Flustered, I reached into my bag for my phone, only to find it had already died from low battery. "Sorry, Gareth. My phone's dead." Gareth was amused. "That sounds suspiciously like a polite rejection. I just got officially employed, am I about to lose my job already?" Gareth turned his head to look at me. "No more teasing. Come on, let me show you the house." "What's there to see?" A huge question mark rose in my heart. Gareth, forgive my bluntness, but now that the marriage certificate is signed, what exactly do you need me to do? Cover for you or something? Gareth fell silent for a moment, his ears gradually turning red. When he spoke again, his tone was full of solemnity. Cecilia, this might sound a bit hasty, but I don't want to hide it from you. Truthfully, I'm immensely grateful that you called me at that moment. I also want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to pursue you under the pretext of marriage. Gareth's straightforward confession caught me off guard. I wanted to say something but didn't know where to start. A wealthy, handsome, and outstanding man just said he wants to pursue me, a man who just got married to me, a man who can also help solve all the problems I'm facing. No matter how you look at it, this seems like the perfect ending in a Cinderella story. After thinking it over, I finally spoke up. Gareth, are you aware of all my circumstances? After all, you helped me first, and frankly, I don't seem like much of an asset to you. Gareth smiled, his eyes twinkling like stars. I know everything about you, perhaps even more than you realize. It's too late today, and this place is nearby. Let's rest here tonight, and I'll take you to the old house tomorrow, all right? I silently followed Gareth out of the car. Gareth was meticulous and considerate. Everything in this house was even more thoughtful than what I had in my own home. From the design to the layout, from skincare products to meals, every single detail perfectly matched my aesthetic and preferences. My phone finally charged, and suddenly an overwhelming flood of messages and missed calls came crashing down on me. The ringtone abruptly sounded, and after staring at it for a while, I finally answered the call. Sweetie, when did you get involved with Gareth? Why didn't you tell your dad? Ask Gareth if I can invest in that project in the east part of the city. Gareth looked at me with a displeased expression and gestured for me to put the phone on speaker. This is Gareth. Cecilia is tired and needs to rest. If there's anything, you can talk to me. My father's voice carried a note of obsequiousness I'd never heard before. Of course, Gareth. Feel free to bring Cecilia home for dinner whenever you're free. The phone rang again, with Sean persistently flashing on the screen. I suddenly felt utterly exhausted. Gareth turned off the phone, scooped me up, and carried me straight to the sofa. Cecilia, rest well. Nothing is more important than your health. Sleep peacefully, I'll be right here with you. Gareth's embrace was inexplicably warm, and as he patted my back gently, I found myself unable to hold back my tears. This sleep was unusually deep. When I woke up, I realized Gareth was still holding me. I stirred slightly. Gareth seemed to still be asleep, unconsciously giving me another gentle pat. I stared blankly at Gareth's sleeping face, and as I looked, I suddenly felt he seemed somewhat familiar. Gareth opened his eyes, saw it was me, leaned in and gave me a kiss. Good morning, wifey. Then he closed his eyes and went back to sleep. The movements were swift and skillful. I was a bit slow to react. Then I heard Gareth murmur with his eyes closed, today's wife feels so real, so cute, and so good to kiss. It's just weird, why do my arms feel kinda numb? I couldn't help but laugh. Gareth turned to look at me and suddenly froze slightly. Morning, he said. Perhaps a night of sound sleep restored me a great deal. Looking into Gareth's eyes, I smiled and said, Good morning, hubby. Gareth's eyes seemed to sparkle with starlight, the smile at the corners of his mouth impossible to suppress, and his ears turned bright red once again. Cecilia, our whole family likes you. The visit to the ancestral home went surprisingly smoothly, with Gareth's family being exceptionally warm toward me. Especially Grandpa, who said to me with a kind smile, this stubborn brat even dogs avoid. Cecilia, don't you go disliking him now. This man, whose wrath could shake the entire city FC 3 times, was unexpectedly so gentle. Looking back now, the undisguised contempt and arrogance Sean's parents once showed me felt like a lifetime ago. Just as we were about to leave the old mansion, Gareth held my hand as we strolled slowly through the garden. Somehow, Sean got wind of the news and came rushing over, panting heavily. When he saw our clasped hands, his eyes instantly reddened. Cecilia, Gareth is already married. How could you be so reckless, choosing to be his mistress rather than waiting for me? Haven't I told you before? I'll definitely make up the wedding to you another day. Gareth's gaze turned cold as he shielded me behind him. If you've got a problem, take it up with me. What kind of man bullies someone else's wife? Sean froze, raising his eyes in disbelief. Your wife? What kind of joke is this? How could Cecilia possibly be your wife? Cecilia and I grew up together, she's always wanted to marry me. Sean's eyes grew redder, even tinged with bloodshot veins. Cecilia, tell Gareth, we're supposed to get married, right? Sean looked at me pleadingly, waiting to hear me say the answer he desperately wanted. I took half a step forward and took Gareth's hand. We've already registered our marriage. I, Cecilia, am Gareth's rightful, legally recognized, and family-approved wife. Sean's gaze suddenly darkened. He seemed shaken, his voice unsteady as he spoke. So, you didn't cancel the wedding that day? You married Gareth at the wedding venue I meticulously chose and prepared? That figure I saw in Gareth's car was really you? Cecilia, how could you do this? Why would you do this to me? Watching Sean's disarray, I found it utterly absurd. You don't know why? Are you really so clueless? The Sirius Group is on the verge of bankruptcy, and I need an alliance marriage to steady the board. Didn't you know? If I can't marry you, my father will trade me off to that 60-something-year-old Walter in exchange for funding. Didn't you know? The wedding is being broadcast live, there's absolutely no possibility of postponement. Didn't you know? I laughed so hard that tears welled up in my eyes. Gareth looked at me with heartache, gently wiping away the tears at the corners of my eyes. Sean, you knew all of this. You pushed me to the point where I can't retreat anymore, and you still ask me why? If you had even a shred of concern, you would have known that I married Gareth that very day. Sean's face turned deathly pale as he murmured, I thought. Thought what? Sean felt somewhat dazed. What had he been doing at the time? It seemed Evelyn had been in a car accident, and he had been fixated on the idea that this was the last time. He had already accompanied Evelyn through so much, often neglecting Cecilia's feelings in the process. Surely that would be enough to repay the debt of gratitude he owed to Evelyn's family. After accompanying Evelyn through the surgery, he would go apologize to Cecilia and start preparing for the wedding again. He would definitely give Cecilia the grandest, most perfect wedding. Seeing Sean lost in thought, I decided to spell it out. Sean, on our wedding day, not a single one of your family members showed up. Evelyn texted me the night before, saying she knew she'd get into a car accident that day. It seemed like they all knew you and I weren't meant to marry. Without bothering to notice Sean's faltering stance, I took Gareth's hand and walked out of the old mansion. Gareth, am I really this useless? Back at home with Gareth, my emotions spiraled out of control. Mom is critically ill, yet I can do nothing but watch the mistress and her illegitimate child walk right into our home. My childhood sweetheart, whom I trusted with all my heart, abandoned me at the most critical moment. I worked hard and grew diligently, only to be traded away by my father like merchandise in the end. Gareth gently pulled me in, embracing me. Cecilia, you've done very well already. A sharp sword is honed through grinding, though a cliché, perfectly suits who you are now. All the setbacks you've endured will ultimately become the adornments and edges that define you. I've reviewed all the projects you've handled, and with each one, you've grown, haven't you? To break free from the shadow of the family conglomerate, you've already ventured into so many new explorations. Gareth's tone was gentle yet firm as he held me, murmuring these words for a long time. Gradually, his comfort helped me regain my composure. Yes, what's gone cannot be reclaimed. There's no need to let past time shackle me. Instead, I must stay resolute and keep moving forward toward my goals. Gareth keenly noticed the change in my emotions and looked into my eyes earnestly. Cecilia, to be honest, I have my own selfish reasons too. I hope you can rely on me a bit more. No matter what you do, just remember I'm by your side. As soon as he finished speaking, Gareth suddenly stood up, leaving me momentarily stunned. After a while, He returned with a stack of documents and knelt on one knee. Cecilia, I've imagined proposing to you countless times, never daring to hope you would agree. Perhaps it's fate's favor that has given me this chance to become your partner. This is an asset transfer agreement. I willingly and unconditionally transfer all my assets to you. Will you marry me? I opened the agreement, and the asset transfer list alone was a hefty stack. Gareth's wealth was staggering, no wonder he was called the Crown Prince. I was moved, but I closed the file and asked Gareth, why? As Gareth recounted, I slowly remembered the version of myself I had nearly forgotten. When my mother was still alive, she was overly protective of me. At the slightest sign of discomfort, she would rush me to the hospital. Once, we accidentally went to the wrong room, and I ended up in the opposite ward, a spacious, luxurious private room where a pale, delicate-looking boy lay on the bed. The little brother was so good-looking, I secretly kissed him while he was asleep. What's more, his hospital room was filled with all kinds of delicious food and fun toys. After that, I often insisted on going to the hospital. I ate meals with him, played together, and watched as his pale cheeks gradually turned pink. We even pinky promised to keep playing together when we grew up. But when I was 9, my mother suddenly fell ill and her condition worsened rapidly. My father soon found a new wife, who brought along a brother around my age. No one ever took me to the hospital to see the little brother again. I actually looked for you afterward, Gareth said hesitantly. But at that time you already had Sean by your side. I regretted missing my chance, but I couldn't let go, so I kept watching over you. I suddenly had a belated realization. So, that time at the cocktail party, when I just happened to save you after you were drugged, was that intentional too? Gareth laughed. No, I never planned to disturb you. Perhaps it was fate's kindness, giving me another chance to get close to you. I practically couldn't wait to promise you that I'd agree to any condition, no matter what it was. At that time, I told myself that if you didn't use this condition, I would maintain the status quo and not disturb you. But since you did use it, I will pursue you with everything I have. I looked at Gareth. He gazed at me sincerely and intently, his dark eyes like an unseen whirlpool. Who could refuse such unreserved and wholehearted affection? I gently kissed his eyelids and whispered, I do. However, the latter half of the night proved those words came at a great cost. Wasn't he supposed to be a man of restraint? Wasn't he said to be indifferent to women? It's all rumors. All rumors. My waist is about to break. My relationship with Gareth progressed at lightning speed. Until Layla cautiously asked me, Cecilia, have you been in touch with Sean recently? I looked stunned, blocked and deleted ages ago, why? Layla breathed a sigh of relief. Sean hasn't been quite himself lately. After meeting me that day, Sean fell seriously ill upon returning home. It took several days for his high fever to subside, and Evelyn stayed by his side in the hospital the entire time. When Sean finally woke up, the two of them had a huge argument. Sean accused Evelyn of ill intentions, while Evelyn argued that Sean knew exactly what he was doing. Because of this, Sean also fell out with his parents, believing they had deceived him under the guise of repaying a debt. According to Layla, Sean has recently been reminiscing about our past together in his posts every day. At first, everyone tried to comfort him, but eventually, they stopped. He had imprisoned himself in the past. Since marrying Gareth, my father's way of addressing me has upgraded from brat to darling daughter. He calls me every few days, showering me with concern, as if utterly doting on me. I never argue back, always quietly listening to his performance. I used to think Sirius Group was like a giant tree, making the path to avenge my mother full of thorns. Now I realize how narrow-minded I was before. Gareth found me tutors in various fields, and with his help, I absorbed all kinds of knowledge like a sponge. One day, while I was analyzing a merger case until my head spun, Dad suddenly called, Darling daughter, I heard Gareth has his eye on that plot in the West District. Could you ask him if it's true for Dad? I glanced at Gareth, who was still reading the documents. I think I've heard him mention it before. After I hung up the phone, Gareth suddenly asked me in an uncharacteristic manner, Honey, What do you think of Sirius Group? Seeing his odd expression, I glared at him. I'll handle this myself, don't you dare interfere. Gareth guiltily rubbed his nose and said, well, honey, if I told you I already leaked the news, would you be mad? Don't be angry, just sleep in the guest room for a month. Wife, I'm sorry. Gareth pitifully kissed me and, taking advantage of my distraction, carried me into the master bedroom. Sure enough, during the online auction for the land in the West District, I caught sight of Sirius Group's involvement. When Sirius Group bid $2 billion, I countered with $2.5 billion. I kept pushing until Sirius Group reached their limit at $8.5 billion. Then I stopped bidding and let them have the land. Dad was unusually happy and called me, my dear daughter, your pillow talk was so effective. Gareth has never failed in land development. This time, he actually took the initiative to give the land to Sirius Group. Everyone is so envious, ha ha ha. I chuckled softly, as long as Dad is happy. What Gareth said was right. For family businesses like Sirius Group, the same factors that lead to success can also lead to failure. When my mom and dad were first starting out, the rise of Sirius Group was built on timely decision-making by its core management, who seized the right opportunities. However, once the person in charge loses their sense of judgment, such massive cash flow can spell disaster for the company. The next day, headlines and financial news were flooded with Sirius Group secures most expensive land plot in Sea City's West District for $8.5 billion. I stared at the photos of my father and his illegitimate son, their faces beaming with pride as they confidently faced the media during interviews. I asked Gareth with extreme confusion, at his age, why does he still believe that manna will fall from heaven? Gareth pretended to think for a moment, then looked at me with a serious expression, maybe because the manna my wife drew for him is big enough? Or perhaps he's just greedy enough? I rolled my eyes at him and promptly blocked my dad's number. Layla called to wake me up while I was still in the middle of studying bankruptcy and asset liquidation in my dream. Layla sounded extremely anxious. Cecilia, how are you still sleeping? Your scumbag dad is spreading rumors about you everywhere. I opened the messages to find Layla had sent me countless links. The content was largely the same. My dear father had gone to the media to sob about how he had painstakingly raised me, only for me to become ungrateful after marriage, driven by dumb love. He claimed I conspired with Gareth to openly defraud Sirius Group, causing massive financial losses for their investments. The comments below were a sight to behold. Love-crazed fools are terrifying. Is betraying your family for a man worth it? These kinds of people are the most disgusting. Is it fun to leech off others? Is it that Sirius Group that publicly live-streamed the wedding? Honest truth, the heiress of Sirius Groups looks really hit the mark for me. Netizens are truly outstanding, their comments getting more and more amusing by the minute. Lying on the bed, I was engrossed in reading them when I suddenly burst out laughing uncontrollably at a particularly hilarious comment. Gareth suddenly rushed into the bedroom and hugged me tightly from behind. Huh? Didn't he go to the company? Gareth's hands were actually trembling as he hugged me. He gently took my phone. Sweetheart, don't cry. I'm already handling it. Huh? I couldn't suppress the smile at the corners of my mouth. Slowly turning around, I looked at Gareth, who was full of anxiety, with an innocent expression. You wouldn't be in trouble if you didn't ask for it. I decided to give them a taste of their own medicine. Contacting a few major media outlets and reliable livestream platforms, I announced the broadcast in advance. The attention this matter received was even higher than I had expected. As soon as the livestream began, millions of viewers flooded into the room. I took out the evidence I had prepared in advance and presented it piece by piece to the audience. The first document is the birth certificates of me and that illegitimate half-brother. He was born just 2 months after me. The second document is my mother's medical records. There were many suspicious circumstances surrounding her illness and death. The third document contains all the projects I handled during my time at Sirius Group. Several core divisions of Sirius Group were established under my leadership. The fourth document details the specific circumstances of the land parcel in the West District that was acquired by Sirius Group. The land previously had a laboratory, but due to an experimental accident, the underground soil is highly contaminated, making secondary development entirely impossible. I also conveniently attached the promotional link of Sirius Group's plan to develop a residential project on this land. When the first 3 pieces of evidence came out, netizens were still enjoying the drama, thinking it was a juicy scandal they couldn't miss. Some started digging into my father's illegitimate child. Others joked while watching the show. This tone continued until the 4th piece of evidence surfaced. After reading the 4th piece of evidence, the live stream room was practically exploding. How dare Sirius Group do something so morally bankrupt? That's severe pollution. How could they still use it to develop residential properties? Heartless capitalists. Boycotting Sirius Group starts with me. I exited the live stream. With ample evidence, I believe, dear Father, your days of freedom are numbered. Since you chose to manipulate public opinion, you'd better be prepared for the backlash. The evidence I revealed during the live broadcast caused a huge uproar. Companies partnered with Sirius Group swiftly issued official statements terminating their collaborations. The police immediately launched an investigation. Dad tried calling me countless times through various numbers and reached out to every acquaintance he knew to contact me. I didn't respond to any of them. Gareth kept me well protected. At a charity gala, I was stopped by an unexpected person, Evelyn. Sean and I had long lost contact. To be precise, I had unilaterally severed all ties. Evelyn gave me a once-over and sneered, "Humph, you really are lucky." I looked at her in confusion, not understanding what she wanted to do. It seemed she just had no one to confide in, so she wanted to talk to me. I walked with her to the balcony, but from her, I heard another version of the story. She and Sean had actually gotten married long ago with a marriage certificate. She loved Sean even earlier than I did. Leveraging her family's favor to Sean's family, she had her grandfather step in to arrange the marriage between her and Sean. Sean had always refused to make it public, and she quietly went along with it. But despite all her calculations, she never expected Sean would genuinely develop feelings for me. Sean truly wanted to marry me, so he proposed a divorce to Evelyn. Evelyn was devastated. When she found out about the wedding between me and Sean, she staged a car accident. I suddenly understood why Sean's parents couldn't hide their arrogance and disdain in their eyes every time I saw them. I also suddenly realized why Sean was willing to hold a wedding with me but kept delaying getting the marriage certificate. I had always thought Evelyn was the third party standing between Sean and me. Never did I expect that I was actually the one interfering in someone else's marriage. Sean kept claiming he loved me, yet he still turned me into the very thing I despised most, a third party, without my knowledge. I suddenly really missed Gareth, the kind of longing that made me want to see him immediately. I walked out of the banquet hall while calling Gareth. "Honey, come pick me up. Was the party not fun tonight? But I missed you. I'll be there right away. Honey, I love you." "I love you too, wifey."